Hello, I'm Mike Coffey, a district court judge in Douglas County, Nebraska. I want to wish all of you new members of the bar my congratulations. Your group is somewhat familiar to me in that my son, Tim, is a member. And because of that, I know many more of you than I normally would. I also want to congratulate you on persevering. You finished law school in a very different manner than most of us. This COVID has had an interesting effect on the legal system, which you're going to learn relatively quickly. The only thing I really want to tell you is be proud of what you've done. You are truly professionals. You need to remember that the professions initially were law, medicine, and religion. So as far as your current situation is concerned, you truly are professionals, and that means a lot. When you pass the bar, that means you can now come inside the well of a courtroom and represent people, which is not only a very rewarding thing, but it's also very important. So in addition to my congratulations, what I would always ask you to do is be professional, be honest, do your best to represent your clients. They always come first. Do your best to have good relationships with your fellow attorneys. And if you do those things, I'm sure you'll be successful. So best of luck to you.
My name is Marcela Keim. I am a county court judge here in Douglas County. And Dave has asked the judges here who typically participate in the Walk Through the Courts program to tape a little welcome message to all of the brand new attorneys who will be joining the local bars. So welcome aboard. This is an extraordinary time for everyone, let alone a new attorney, to be entering the practice of law and the regular stressors that everybody faces when they're a brand new attorney, the uncertainty, the nervousness is compounded, obviously, due to the pandemic and the uncertainty that's facing all of us, no matter how long we've been around. So I would like to take this opportunity to welcome you aboard. And I assume we'll be seeing much more of each other. As I indicated, I'm one of the county court judges. I have been on the bench now for almost 10 years. And my office is actually in the Civic Center. There are a number of lawyers who have, judges who have offices here in the Civic Center. And then the majority of the county court judges' offices are on the second floor of the courthouse. So if you practice in probate court, do civil litigation within the statutory limits, and or do some felony preliminary hearings, bond settings, or misdemeanor cases, we'll be seeing each other very soon. Welcome aboard.
Hello, I am Judge Stefanie Hansen. I am a county court judge in Douglas County. And my advice for you coming to practice in Douglas County, or quite frankly anywhere, is remember that the courtroom is your stage. Everything that you have learned and are wanting to do happens in the courtroom, and it's your stage. So there's two main things to remember about that. First and foremost, be professional. Dress neatly, speak clearly and honestly, and respect the decorum of the courtroom. Second, always come to court prepared. Being prepared means having your thoughts, any of your arguments already outlined so that you have some bullet points so you don't forget those important things. And one of the other things that is so helpful is if you're going to cite a case that you want the judge or the other side to take note of, make sure that you bring a copy of that for both the opposing counsel and for the court. It's very helpful. Even if we write things down, sometimes you lose that note. So if you have the case in your hands, you're more likely to go back to your office and spend time reading that. So good luck, and I hope to see you. Make sure that you introduce yourselves when you come, since we're not able to meet in person at the Walk Through the Courts this year. Thank you.
All right, good afternoon or good day. This is Judge Brian Buescher. I am District Judge with the United States District Court for the District of Nebraska, and I am here today to provide for you the walk through the courts for the United States District Court. Normally, of course, we would do this personally, and you could come to the courthouse and we could show you the courthouse and show you the beautiful courthouse we have here at the Nebraska Federal Courthouse. But of course, due to COVID, that simply isn't possible. So what I thought I would do at the request of the Omaha Bar Association is to provide you some background on the federal courts, and then provide you the opportunity to review the video and ask any questions you have for the federal court personnel at a later time. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to share my screen, and so I am going to try to get that shared with you. Let me see if I can get this done correctly here. This is the one I want to go down. So excuse me as I get this shared. Hopefully this is, you can see this. So what I'm going to refer to you today is a document that the United States District Court Clerk's Office has put together for new attorneys, and we are going to have this emailed to you. The document I'm showing you today is from last year, but they're in the process of updating it, and we'll get you the updated version of this at the time you're presented this video. So after we get through the table of contents of this document, I'll just go through the various parts of the federal courts using this document as a guide, and then I'll have some final thoughts for you as you proceed with your legal careers as new admittees to the bar, at least to the district court bar here in Nebraska. Our federal court system is here in Nebraska consists of the United States District Court for the District of Nebraska. I will refer you to our website, which has all sorts of general orders, local rules, forms, all the things you would need, many things you would need to practice law here in Nebraska in the federal courts. So I would refer you to that website. With regard to the federal judges here in Nebraska, the 8th Circuit Court of Appeals does have a courtroom here in the Nebraska Federal Courthouse, and Judge Steve Graz is here in the federal courthouse and is located here with his law clerks in his chambers, and so he is in the federal courthouse. Judge Arlen Beam, longtime senior judge with the 8th Circuit Court of Appeals, located in Lincoln. He recently took full retirement. He served well for many, many years, and he took full retirement here, I believe, at the end of September. With regard to the district court judges here in the state, we have 3 active district court judges. And what an active judge is an individual who was nominated by the President of the United States and confirmed by the United States Senate to be a federal judge. And Nebraska, under statute, has 3 authorized judgeships, meaning we can have 3 active judges at the same time. 2 are located in Omaha and 1 is located in Lincoln. Chief Judge John Gerard is located in Lincoln, and Judge Robert Rossiter and myself, Judge Buescher, I am located here in Omaha as an active judge. The way it works is after you've reached the requisite retirement age, which I can assure you I'm far from, at that point, the president can nominate, if the judge chooses to take what's called senior status, which is semi-retirement. The judge can either retire fully with full pay for the rest of their lives, or they can decide to take a lesser caseload or the same caseload. And once that happens, a vacancy exists with the United States District Courts here in Nebraska, and the president gets to appoint someone to replace the judge, and they will have a new active judge. So what happens is judges can take senior status, and currently we have 2 judges who have taken senior status. One is Senior Judge Richard Coffey, who is in Lincoln, and he continues with a very active caseload voluntarily. He doesn't have to, but he chooses to. And Senior Judge Joe Battalion, who also takes an active caseload, even though he doesn't need to. I decided to use this document because Senior Judge Lori Smith Camp, who actually took senior status only a couple years ago, leaving a vacancy that I ended up getting confirmed by the U.S. Senate to take. She passed away very unexpectedly and suddenly in September 2020, and it really hit the court hard because she was such a wonderful woman and also a wonderful person, and quite frankly, an outstanding judge. She was excellent, and she was very good at the job. And I will certainly miss having her around to ask questions of, because she was very gracious as well. So so that's the state of the district court judges in Nebraska. Then of course we have our magistrate judges, and we have 3 magistrate judges that serve in the District of Nebraska, with 1 judge serving on recall, meaning he's retired but can come back and assist as needed. Magistrate Judge Cheryl Zwart is in Lincoln. Magistrate Judge Zwart is extremely good at the technological side of serving as a magistrate judge. In fact, I would suggest she's an authority in the country on that. During COVID here, she has been sought out repeatedly for assistance from from judges from around the country on conducting online hearings as a magistrate judge. And she had done it long before COVID, and for that reason, she's very good. We also have Magistrate Judge Bezos, who's extremely capable. He used to be on the county court, was a judge in county court here in Douglas County. Magistrate Judge Michael Nelson, also very capable. He was a longtime criminal defense attorney here in Nebraska, and well renowned. So we're very lucky to have those judges. And Magistrate Judge Gossett, who had a very distinguished career here at the District of Nebraska, and now serves on recall status whenever anyone, when we need some assistance with some caseloads. So just so as a new lawyer, so that you understand the division of work between magistrate judges and district court judges. Under the law, the vast majority of trials are conducted by district judges. As noted in the local rules, if both parties wish to consent to trial by the magistrate judge, then the magistrate judge can handle your trial if you consent to that. However, the vast majority of cases are tried in front of a district court judge, just because that's how the law works. Also, magistrate judges in our jurisdiction handle a large amount of pretrial work, both on the civil side and on the criminal side. And so many practitioners find that they have a lot more contact with the magistrate judges than the district judges, unless the case goes to trial. And so what happens is that the magistrate judges sometimes will issue findings and recommendations to the district judges, and the district judges will review those if the parties so request, and the district judge will then decide to affirm those or change the ruling. So that's a generally very high-level discussion of the roles of the magistrate judges and the district judges in the federal court system. In addition to magistrate judges, we also have some bankruptcy judges. Previously, we had 1 bankruptcy judge in Nebraska, and that is Chief Judge Tom Saladino. However, we recently added another bankruptcy judge. His name is Judge Brian Cruz, and he is located in Lincoln, and Judge Saladino is located, his offices are here in Omaha. However, they tend to cover both places, so they split the cases and they go to Lincoln or Omaha, depending on what needs to happen in which location. The office of the clerk of the district court Does have offices in Omaha and Lincoln. The larger portion of their operation is in Omaha. We have a dedicated courthouse here, and that is mostly federal district court, and they have more room for staff here. The federal courthouse in Lincoln houses other federal, a variety of other federal agencies, as well as does Omaha. There is another federal agency here in the courthouse, but it's more of a mixed-use facility in Lincoln, with the courts being part of that use. And so, but the majority of the clerk's office employees are here in Omaha. The clerk's office is generally divided into various working groups. There's a case management group. Those individuals could be very helpful, and when you have questions about filings and getting things on file using the electronic filing system. And so you can look at this document, get online and look at the website to see the various services that we provide there. Each judge is also assigned a courtroom deputy from the clerk's office, and that individual assists the court with handling trials, and it's very instrumental in scheduling any hearings or court proceedings, keeping track of deadlines and things like that. So what I would suggest to you as a new judge and someone who just came from the practice of law for many years, if you have a question about scheduling or how things proceed in a certain courtroom, the courtroom deputy assigned to the judge is very helpful, and you might want to consider contacting that individual who can be very helpful to you. There's also a jury team that helps with jury trials in the District of Nebraska, and there's also a finance department that handles all sorts of issues related to finance, whether that be a filing fee or admissions fee or whatever fee is needed, all along with judgments, financial judgments and things of that sort. One thing that I wanted to mention is that the United States Probation and Pretrial Services is a large group of individuals in the federal district courts who are charged with supervising individuals who've been charged with a crime or convicted with a crime. And they play a material role in advising the judge on when it's time for the judge to decide sentencings and issues such as that. With regard to practicing here in the district court, I would suggest that you really should look at the website and look through it. There's all kinds of assistance that the website provides, whether it be a form for certain filings, information about filing fees, etc. It's just very helpful. We also have local rules, of course, and one thing I do want to mention is the local rules. Every court has them, every district court has them pretty much, most of them do. I would suggest you read those if you have any federal district court practice, because you don't want to get crossways with the local rules. Let's see here. As far as this document goes, with regard to jury instructions, you've got a resource in this document showing where you can get those, the model instructions, and mention the local rules. Obviously, electronic case filing is available 24 hours a day, which in the private practice of law, I found can be good and bad. Sometimes you end up staying up later than you think you might because you don't have to have it filed until midnight. And so that's what happens. And that is, but it's very helpful for all practitioners, and judges like to have that electronic filing system. You can look up the filing fees, etc. Those are all on the website, and also items that are easily discovered through review. There is one thing I wanted to mention. Some judges use digital recording. All magistrate judges use digital recording. Judge Coffey uses it as well. Judge Gerard uses it on occasion. I haven't used it. That doesn't mean I won't use it. I tend to use a live court recorder, but that's something you should understand, that not every court proceeding in federal court has a live court recorder. Magistrate judges, with regard to criminal cases, are on rotation for certain proceedings, and so that should be, make sure you understand that if you end up doing criminal law, and I would review this portion of this document if you are. And there's also a list of various individuals who are part of the federal court operation. that this is just a helpful list of individuals that you can refer to if you end up in federal court. And the last thing I'd just like to say as you begin your legal career or begin your practice, at least in the District of Nebraska, is, you know, in federal court, I practiced both in state and federal court before I came to the bench. And in state court, there's more hearings, there's more opportunities to see the judge, there's more opportunities to interact with the judge. In federal court, just because of the way that it's operated and the complexity of the cases and the filings and the rules, you see less of the judge, particularly the Article III judge. I think many practitioners find that they have more contact with the magistrate judges than the Article III judges. And I would just encourage you to try to meet us, all of us judges, when we're out and about. Unfortunately, with COVID, we haven't been able to get out for obvious reasons, but many of us do get out in the community, especially the legal community, and please don't hesitate to introduce yourself. And finally, I would just like to encourage you to do this. You really should think about finding a way to come and tour this courthouse or see this courthouse on your own when COVID enables you to do so. It's a wonderful public building, and we're here to do the people's work. And you really should have an opportunity to come in this courthouse and appreciate what has been built here. And there's also various displays and information on the walls as you walk through the courthouse. Many of it was put up by the late Judge Lori Smith Camp through her leadership. And it's just a really wonderful place to visit. So that's what I have for my walk through the courts. Hopefully you found this to be helpful to you. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact my chambers if you would like. And my information is available on the website. And don't be afraid to, don't be a stranger. You know, the practice of law is a noble calling. And it's a lot of work, and it can be very stressful. And I think the relationships you make in the practice of law, including with the court, really can help your practice just more than anything to have other people that you know who understand your livelihood, understand what it is that you do every day, and the stresses and the role that you play in helping our society. So thank you very much, and that is all I have. Have a great day.
Good evening, new lawyers. Welcome and congratulations on your journey to become an attorney in the state of Nebraska. No insignificant accomplishment, I can assure you. My name is Grant Forsberg. I'm one of the 12 Douglas County Court judges in Omaha, Nebraska. I completed my journey to become an attorney back in 2003 when I was first sworn in, and I was honored by the Governor Ricketts when I was appointed to this position in May of last year. Been asked to provide a few comments to you as a group, as new attorneys, and hopefully I've got a few words of wisdom for you that might help you in your journey. Try to break it down into three main areas: procedure, preparation, and interaction. As with anything that's new, there's a lot of unknowns out there. And although you've recently passed the bar exam, as well as all the tests that you've had in law school, suddenly there's a need to learn exactly how to put that knowledge that you have in your head into practical and actual use. So it's important to spend some time to look at the local rules to see how the court actually works. What documents will get the case started, how to get things served, how to interact, and where to go actually in the courthouse so that you can effectively represent your clients. Also, it's very important to spend some time discussing the practical procedures of the court with attorneys that have been around the block a time or two, as well as with paralegals and legal secretaries and court personnel. There's a wealth of knowledge out there, and you'll generally find that everybody's very willing to help you become an effective attorney. Preparation. As with anything as in law school, as well as the bar exam, the more you prepare, the better you can perform. And that's what you'll need to be able to do, is to perform on behalf of your clients. And biggest thing that I have seen from young lawyers as well as old lawyers is the need to spend time on the rules of evidence. You go through law school, you pick up the basics, and then you spend the rest of your career trying to fine tune and better understanding exactly how the rules of evidence work so that you can present the facts as best you can on behalf of your clients, minimizing negative facts and highlighting those positive facts, critical in then achieving the outcomes that you want for your clients. Interaction. I've always found it's best just to treat everybody as you want to be treated in professionalism and with respect. Oftentimes, attorneys will spend times going at each other when really the importance is to focus on presenting those facts. So always remember when you're in court to present yourself in a professional and courteous manner to opposing counsel, as well as to the court and specifically to court personnel. You need to be polite and professional with everyone at all times because everyone has different responsibilities in this litigation process. Again, importance to me is remember your goal with your client is to present their case as best you can without unnecessary distraction. Lastly, in closing, I guess, you've earned this great honor to practice law in the state of Nebraska. You should always conduct yourself in a manner so that you never lose that right. Again, it's an incredible honor to be able to practice law in our state, and you shouldn't ever let a client try to jeopardize your ability to continue to do that long term. As I'm sure you all will, thank you for listening, and I wish you all great success.
We'll get started. My name's Larry Gendler, and these are my comments for the new lawyers. Excuse me if I'm referring to my notes here, but it appears to be recording. Welcome to the professional law. I hope you enjoy it as much as I have. Enjoy the ride because it goes quickly. I started here in the building in Sarpy County in 1977, and I never left. I've never regretted a day. I always love coming to work. And I know at some point it's going to come to an end here. Never hesitate to ask questions of judges, of your colleagues. It's how you learn. We've all been in your position before. I had a professor once that told me that confusion is knowledge. And that's certainly the case with the practice of law. My one request is to try and leave your disputes in the courtroom. Don't take it personally. That's not how the law is intended to be practiced. Socialize with your colleagues. Nobody likes surprises, so if you can, share some things with opposing counsel that don't affect the outcome of the case, including things like motions or other things you might file. You might want to give a heads up to the opposing counsel first. And as I said, particularly if it doesn't affect the outcome of your case. But above all, just enjoy it. It goes by quickly, won't seem like it at times. And you'll make lifelong friends in the process. And I just want to welcome you. And certainly if you have other questions about the juvenile law or juvenile process in Sarpy County, please don't hesitate to give us a call. And all the best to you this coming holiday season, and stay safe. Thank you.
Well, thanks for joining us. This is Dave Summers, Executive Director of the Omaha Bar Association, and I'm here today with Judge Horacio Wheelock of the Douglas County District Courts, and we are talking about the Veterans Treatment Court, which is a special treatment court that's in Lancaster County, Douglas County, and my dog apparently. So Hector wants to get in. Sorry about that. I'm trying to keep him at bay as best I can today. Judge, you are one of two judges that deal with the Veterans Treatment Court in Douglas County. Is that correct?
Correct. I am the supporting role for Judge James Gleason, who is in charge of the Veterans Court in Douglas County, Nebraska.
And if I'm not mistaken, your supporting role may change because Judge Gleason may be retiring soon, correct?
That may be correct, yes.
So we had a veterans law CLE, Just the Basics, a few years ago with, actually just a year ago with John Barry and Mick from the veterans community talking about the court and some of the things it does, but you're there as the judge or the supporting judge to Judge Gleason. For the new attorneys that are just starting out, can you give them some understanding of when they would be in Veterans Treatment Court and sort of what that might look like on that first impression?
Sure. So if you're a new attorney, first and foremost, welcome to what I would consider to be one of the best professions. I felt that way 18 years ago, and I still feel that way today. You know, as an attorney, that is just, it's the highest calling that we can serve our fellow man in a time of peace, most certainly. And welcome to the profession. I hope that you enjoy it as much as I do, because it's been a fantastic and just wonderful experience for me so far. As far as the Veterans Treatment Court is concerned, if you practice in the area of criminal law, whether you're a prosecutor or you're representing citizens accused, you will undoubtedly run into a scenario where a citizen accused has served in the armed forces. And as a person who has served in the armed forces, if they stand accused of a crime, they very well may be eligible to participate in the Douglas County Veterans Treatment Court. Right now, the criteria is you have to be charged with a felony, and we have a group that meets to discuss each person who is, I guess, proposed as a candidate. And we, just to give you kind of an idea of how this works, we meet every Thursday, and that's every Thursday. Every other Thursday we have Veterans Treatment Court. So we meet every Thursday at 12:30, and we usually conclude by 2 o'clock. And when we have court, it's 12:30 till about 4 o'clock or 4:30. So during the the meetings where we do not have court, we talk about many different issues. We talk about all the persons that are part of the Veterans Treatment Court, how they're doing, how they're progressing, what we need to work on with them, their goals. And we also talk about new referrals. So it's very important for the new attorneys to ask their client, hey, have you ever served in the Armed Forces of the United States or its allies? So that's the key. And then if they have, then it's important to kind of reach out to the prosecutor who's in charge. In this case, it's Jeffrey Lux, and to ask him, hey, any chance that we can get this person looked at as a potential referral?
And the process, I mean, the reason we're talking about this separate court for veterans exists because we understand there to be scenarios. If you served in the armed forces, you potentially have extenuating circumstances. You have PTSD. You've served in combat. You may be more likely to abuse drugs, alcohol, abuse other people physically, get into altercations, use violence. We understand that you could be in a situation more, and we want to help you through it rather than just lay down the hammer and be punitive. It's about restorative justice, right? It's about getting people back and made whole, and trying not to put them under the thumb of necessarily serving a lot of time in prison and things like that, right? I mean, I'm speaking generally, and you're going to say it much more gracefully and artfully than I did.
No, I think you actually said it pretty well. The idea behind the Veterans Treatment Court is to restore a person to honor. And you do so by getting to the heart of the matter, the issue, the catalyst, if you will, as to what brought you to have been accused of a crime. What brought you to that point? Is it drugs? Is it alcohol? And what was the cause for you to have taken the choice, to have made the choice, to have taken the steps to get involved with the use of controlled substances, alcohol, to act out in a violent manner? And you're right, a lot of it is, especially with our combat veterans, they've seen the atrocities of war, and there are post-traumatic stress disorders associated with that, and we try to treat the issue in a very unified, dignified manner. We have amazing probation officers that are dedicated to this. We work with the VA hospital as well, and you'd be shocked as to the support that these veterans receive within the Veterans Treatment Court and the dedication of all the professionals involved. It truly is an amazing treatment court, and our success rate is excellent. It truly is. And our level of recidivism is very low, because it's not like a overnight deal, right? I mean, most people are in there for at least 16 months, I would imagine, maybe even longer. We have a few people that have been in there for 3 years. So the range, the goal here, of course, the reward is, you might get your charges dismissed or reduced significantly. But the ultimate goal here is to restore the person back to the honor that they once had, and to ensure that they learn the life skills in order to be able to cope with the trauma. You can't cure trauma. You cannot cure the effects of trauma, but you can learn to live with it and to cope with them. And that's really our goal. And, Judge Gleason has done just a tremendous job of being the leader in that court. And I've learned a lot from him. And our probation officers, like I said, are phenomenal. Mick is a part of the Veterans Court. So we all work as a team. We triage the cases, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful treatment court.
So this is a compound question, but the two things I'm as I understand it, there's not a cookie cutter approach to, you were charged with this felony, we're going to treat you this way. It's sort of, we'll see how this treatment works. We'll adjust as need be. We'll figure out, we'll do this as long as it needs to, necessarily, not necessarily, just 6 months and you're done. That's one thing that I'm hearing. And the other thing, and correct me if I'm wrong, but also there's an idea that the prosecutor's office is supportive of this too. Jeff Lux in particular is there supporting this, so it's not prosecutors aren't caring about this process, they're just forced into it.
Oh, no. Yes. First of all, to your first part of the question, right, there is no, it's not a cookie cutter approach. It's not within 6 months you're going to be here, within a year you're going to be here. Every treatment is different for every person, and every journey is different for every person that's in the treatment court. We have goals, and we try to keep those goals, but there's things that happen along the way, and we have to be able to be accommodating and adjust to those matters. With your comment about Jeff Lux is 100% in. William Harry is from the Public Defender's Office, and he's 100% in. This is very much a treatment court that's supported by Don Klein and supported by Thomas Riley, the prosecutor, the Douglas County Attorney's Office and the Douglas County Public Defender's Office. And yes, they are, everybody who's in this court working towards the end goal for each participant, we are all 100% in. There is no half in, half out. We are all 100% in. I mean, there's been text messages constantly sent during the weekends. People are dedicated. The emails are checked constantly, day, night, weekend. So we are all firm believers in the program.
I mean, that makes me feel good. That should make all attorneys, judges feel good that everyone's pointed towards this common goal. I mean, that really does speak highly of the profession, of the the goal here to restore the honor. One thing you talked about, an application process, and so it should maybe be clear, not everybody who applies will necessarily get into the program, and there are, I guess, caps on number of people that can be in the program at any one given time, right?
Right. We strive to get 50 people into the program, or to have 50 people all at once. I think right now we're a little below that number. Not everybody qualifies. And what I mean by that is not everybody, we're looking for high risk, high need people. And sometimes there's low risk, low need. And, if it's a low risk, low need, that's part of what the group discusses. We're looking to really tackle on the challenges. We're not looking for the easy cases, let's just say. We're looking for the more difficult cases, a place where we can make a difference.
No, that's great. I have a basic article in front of me from the Nebraska lawyer that I'll make sure to pass along to the new lawyers so they understand some of the things we talked about, and have that paper associated with it as well. I've taken up plenty of your time on a Friday talking about this, Judge. I don't have any more questions. Is there anything else that you wanted to get across to the new attorneys about this, or just in general?
No, just welcome to all of you. You have picked a profession that I have no doubt will bear fruit to wonderful things in your life. What you take from it will also be what you give to it. And I have no doubt that you will be fantastic at this job. And if you ever need anything, I'm in courtroom 410. If you need any advice, if you want to come and say hello, the door is always open. And you will find that everybody in the courthouse is very nice. So please do not be bashful. We are here for you. Here in Douglas County District Court, we provide a service, and you are an essential part of that service. So please do not hesitate to contact me for whatever you may need. It's an absolute pleasure to serve you.
I appreciate that, Judge. I have to say, this is true what Judge is saying here. He really does believe this, that the profession is a noble one, that it's a customer service that he really does work so hard at, and we appreciate all the work that you do, Judge, for the attorneys, for the judicial system, for the clients and the general public out there. Thanks so much for joining us. Sorry we couldn't do this in person. Next year we'll do it in person. So
next year, God willing, right?
Take care. God willing. Have a good
care.
weekend.
Thank you. Same to you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I was going to start with welcoming all of the new attorneys to our Nebraska legal community. It's a really exciting time for them to have passed the bar exam and to actually hang up their shingle. So congratulations to all of you who are just joining us. I think you're joining us at a very unusual time, but it's also really fascinating to watch how the attorneys and the judges are working collectively together to get through this pandemic. Everybody's thinking outside the box, trying to have access to justice for everybody within our state. Electronic communication has become really necessary, obviously, in this situation, and people have been working really hard to make sure that everything is running smoothly and can accommodate everybody who has different levels of access to that technology or different levels of technology in general. So it's a really great time to observe our community coming together to reach the same goal of access to justice. And it's really exciting for me as a lawyer and a judge to watch that camaraderie that we've had. So welcome. I would encourage you in these first couple of years to seek out a mentor, somebody who works in your field, of choice, or maybe somebody who doesn't, who might give you some different perspectives on the law in general or different areas of law that you might want to involve yourself in. So definitely a mentor is certainly a great asset to have, and I would encourage all of you to do so. There are many attorneys out there, very experienced senior attorneys, who would be happy to dedicate their time to talking to you, to offering you any guidance or suggestions you might need. And certainly this is another way that you would be able to network, meet more people within the legal community, and maybe even advance your career to some degree along the way. I'd also encourage you to volunteer to any of the local bar associations. Obviously, we're speaking to you from the Omaha Bar Association, but there are other local bar associations and the State Bar Association that have volunteer services, so that you can also get your feet wet, get more experience under your belt in different areas of law, and fulfilling your pro bono requirements. And even if they're not required in your firm, it's certainly something that I would encourage all of you to do, to give back to your communities in some way. So I want to welcome you again, offer my my availability to you if at any time you have any questions about the practice of law, or about becoming a judge, or about Sarpy County in general. So welcome to the bar. And then for, Dave has asked me to speak a little bit about Sarpy County District Court in general for our practice and procedure. I know I'm supposed to stay clear of advice, which would include following the local rules, but I do think that the local rules are important, because there's some minute differences in many of them that have deadlines, page requirements, things that are pretty specific. So it is important to look at those when you're going to a different jurisdiction that you might not otherwise practice in on a regular basis. First and foremost, I think that being respectful of your position as a lawyer and representing your client is really important. Myself as a judge, love to see when people can get along with one another, when you are zealously representing your client, but doing so in a professional and respectful manner. When you're treating the opposing counsel respectfully, it's nice to get done with a very heated trial, and then to still turn to opposing counsel and shake hands and congratulate them on the effort that they've done and the job that they've performed for their client, because we're all really doing the same work and we're all on the same team to some extent. So it's nice to see that professionalism between attorneys. I think that also extends to all of the staff that you see in the courthouse as well, not just the bailiff and the court reporter, but anybody in the clerk's office, or anybody whose job is really in one of those supportive offices or agencies within the justice system. Those people work tirelessly, and I think the adage of you can accomplish a lot more with honey than with vinegar is really very true in this scenario. Bailiffs are especially the gateway to court hearings and to the judge. So not to suggest that you have to go overboard, but certainly providing that bailiff with a certain amount of respect and professionalism is very important, and will serve you well and your client well in the future. I love it when attorneys bring case law to me that is supportive of their argument and their position. I also find it very helpful that if there's a legal argument that they're trying to make, if they have a brief in advance that I can consider stating out, laying out well their legal argument. I think that's very, very helpful. I also really appreciate when I have copies of the exhibits during trial. It's very difficult for me sometimes to follow, especially when it's financial information. If I don't have the exhibit in front of me, it's difficult for me at times to follow along with what's being testified to from that exhibit directly, which either the attorney or the witness may have in their possession. So having copies for the court is crucial in my opinion, and probably one of the best tips that I can offer. I always am happy to welcome any questions from counsel if they have a procedural question about how I specifically do things. I think that that's I encourage that. I think it's better for everybody to be on the same page of what the expectations are when we're coming up to a trial or to another hearing. If attorneys like to speak to me in chambers about a particular issue that they have a question of, I'm happy to do that. Certainly not making any guarantees of what the ruling would be, but if it's helpful to them in some way to have that conversation with me, I think that that's something I'm very supportive of. So if you are in front of a judge, I would say that a rule of thumb is to ask. It doesn't hurt to ask if that judge has some particular issue with talking to you about a procedural question or maybe an issue that is in contention at trial. So information and communication is really key. The other thing that I think is statewide a problem is that our dockets are really full. It's very difficult for somebody to get a trial in, especially on domestic cases, within a short period of time. A lot of that can be alleviated if attorneys were able to communicate with the court, whether or not they're close to settlement, if they need all of the time that has been set aside for that trial, or if they are able to settle at all. So giving us that information in advance is very, very helpful, because then that will free up our calendar and we can slip somebody else in that might otherwise have to wait another long period of time to get that same hearing time frame. So I know that many attorneys, it's very difficult to communicate with your client about settlement negotiations until it gets closer to the time of trial. But to the extent that that's possible, I think that the judges in general across the state would really appreciate that, and would welcome any sort of information you could give so that we can better manage our dockets and provide other opportunities to hear cases in a more timely manner. I think that, let's see, what else do I have here? I also think that proposed orders are very helpful for me to not only follow along with what the position is of that particular party, but if it's provided to me in Word format, then I can edit it to comply with my decision and the findings that I've had. So providing those, not only exhibits, but providing a proposed order at trial is also very helpful. It just keeps things in order and keeps the judge on task of what it is that's actually before them and what the position is of that particular party. So if you're able to do that, I think that's another tip that I would encourage you to consider as well. I know many of you are more experienced attorneys, but I would still encourage you, if you don't, either to find a mentor, especially if you're not used to that particular jurisdiction and practicing in that location. Find somebody that you can ask and inquire about the judge's particular protocols, inquire about how things might be different from your normal jurisdiction. But if you are more experienced and aren't interested in finding a mentor yourself, I would highly encourage you to become a mentor. We have a number of new attorneys, younger attorneys that don't have those opportunities, who aren't working in larger firms, that are hanging up their own shingles, and they really need that help and guidance, which the experience that many of these attorneys have in our state is ample and so vast and knowledgeable. It would be wonderful if you could commit some time, even a cup of coffee, to share some advice or guidance with a younger attorney. I think that would be great. And they would certainly appreciate that. And hopefully they would pass it on to the next generation as well. So those would be my final thoughts. I hope that's helpful, at least for Sarpy County District Court in my courtroom. I know the other judges we have fairly similar processes and procedures as I do. Judge Smith is part-time in Sarpy County. He does, I think, about 2 days a week on a regular rotation in Sarpy, and then the other 3 days are in Cass County. But outside of that, it's the other two district court judges and myself follow pretty similar patterns of procedure in our courtroom. So I think they would also encourage you, if you had any questions at all about what their processes are, to please contact them. You can certainly contact me. My door is always open. And I just want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to you today. Thank you.
Hi, and welcome to Walk Through the Courts. We are in the referee's office at this time. We're located on the 4th floor of the Hall of Justice in the District Court building. Come on in. And this is our bailiff, Jane Leonard. Hello. So as district court referees, we hear matters in only establishment, enforcement, and modification of child support, alimony, and paternity cases. We're happy to have both state matters and private matters set before us. If it is a private matter, you'll need a referral from the district court judge assigned to the case. Once we receive that referral, Jane would be happy to set any hearing that is appropriate in those matters. We are available Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30. So let's see if referee Serb's available. I think she's just finishing up some hearings. This is our offices. We have a conference room that's available for the private attorneys to meet. And then both referee Serb and I have our separate courtrooms. Referee Serb?
Hello, welcome to one of our courtrooms. Hearings before the district court referee are held in the exact same way as a hearing is held before a district court judge. That means the rules of evidence apply. You must mark your exhibits prior to hearing and also exchange those exhibits with opposing counsel or a pro se party prior to your hearing. Any proceeding that is held here in one of our courtrooms is preserved by a tape recording. And what that means is, if in the future you need a transcript, you do have to request that separately, and one of the court reporters for Judge Ruddlesdorf will go ahead and transcribe that for you. With regards to what referees do after a hearing, we draft what are called referee reports, and they contain our findings and recommendations from the evidence that we hear at a hearing. If you want to take exception to our findings and recommendations, you must do so within 14 days of us filing our report. That's in all matters except contempt matters. If it's a contempt matter, you must file your exception immediately after we state what our findings and recommendations are. Other than that, if you have any questions, I'm going to let referee Lamphere kind of explain that process.
Hi again. Thank you for stopping by today. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to meeting you in person sometime soon. Please know that if you have any questions, contact our office at 402-444-6841. Otherwise, you can email us at dcreferee@dc4dc.com, and that's the number 4, not the spelling out of it. So we look forward to meeting you, and thank you again for stopping by.